my dad had passed away a couple years ago, and after he passed, he had his old business that he had retired from, old car dealership, and it was a big building, and I ended up selling the property, and I kept the building itself, and I disassembled it piece by piece all the way to the ground, and kind of gave everything that was of use, from windows to doors, insulation, roofing, everything. Somebody took. I gave to 300 different people, took something, and what I kept was the skeleton of it, which was all the beams and the trusses and the girts and the purlins. And I since have moved it up to this town of Augusta, Montana, where I live. I live just outside of it, but I moved the building there, and I've acquired 3 acres in town where I'm going to build a community center in the town, which doesn't have a health club or community center of sorts, so it's going to be a multi-purpose facility. But with that, I had started up benchmarkwrestling.org was the name of the nonprofit, and the work now has just been starting to fundraise. Everything else, bids for the expense of the building. It's pretty expensive, but at the same time, there's been a lot of support from a contracting angle from all the subs and people that are behind it. They're all former wrestlers. My dad was Bob Zadick, who coached Bill and I both growing up. He was a club coach for over 30 years. And just knowing that his passion for wrestling and the impact he had on so many other athletes, really, we knew what it did for us as his sons. But after he passed, the people that had reached out to us and had stories of my dad being a father figure for them, or a support, or some of the lines we were hearing, like, I raise my kids and I go to work with the intent of your dad in mind. I do it from what he taught me. Like, the way I am a father is because of your dad. The way I approach my business, I'm an engineer, is because of your dad. So to me, that was a really complimentary angle that I hadn't heard from a non-family member. So I'm like, wow, you really did have a lot of big impact on kids, and me not being married, no kids, love kids. I'm like, well, heck, I love coaching. This town needs it. It would be an avenue for me to be able to impact this community, and not just through wrestling, but in an unbelievable way. If we actually have a facility where people can go have a physical, mental health approach to life, where you don't have it. And that's kind of been the biggest motivation, is seeing my dad's old business transform into a wrestling facility, but with bigger dreams. Obviously, on a daily basis, I want to coach wrestling. I want to bring in high-level people that I've met through my career and my exposure in the sport. And it's not necessarily just wrestlers, but people that have succeeded in life, and have them tell their story to our guests or athletes or kids. And it's not just wrestling. I want to have the girls basketball team, all the parents. And why did this person go from this lifestyle and upbringing to become an Olympic champion, or to become the head of the CIA, or whatever avenue they are, whatever professional we bring in? I just want kids to be impacted by that story, because I think you can save a lot of kids with putting them in front of high-powered, successful people. Bill and I both were impacted through our dad, through our mom and dad, that we had a great family, love, support. But he also put us in front of very high-level people at a young age. I was 5 years old when I met Randy Lewis, was an Olympic champion. And I knew a few things from him, but I just knew that meeting high-level people like that at a young age, most people see it in a magazine or like now on the internet. That reach seems pretty far. But when you're actually talking to people that have done it, it really impacts your degree of separation. Maybe it's not the right word, but the distance it seems at a young age to become LeBron James, or to become this powerhouse figure in whatever avenue of sport or channeling you do, where you want your success. So bringing those people to them, I think you can really impact the kids in our community, because the kids in the community have an unbelievably positive culture, upbringing, like hardworking. It's a ranch community, so these kids have chores and work, and their parents have work, and I mean that to me is already ahead of the game from most people, because they're born with the work ethic, So now to be able to cultivate that into a higher thing in life and think bigger than maybe just I'm gonna just do this. I want them to think like, I always say, like, if you want to be say you want to be a banker, I want to hopefully work at a bank someday. No, why don't we think of more along the lines of, why don't you grow up and own Wells Fargo? Think bigger. Like, you don't just want to be a banker. Buy U.S. Bank and run them out, run them down the road. Like, think, above and beyond. And that's, I think, what my dad did for us, because like we've said, 5 years old, he told us we're going to be Olympic champions. We met Olympic champion. We wrote it down, and we had a goal since then. And if you'd have told us we weren't, we'd have probably punched you in the nose, because by God, we were going to be it. And it didn't seem too far-fetched to us, because he made it realistic. And I think bringing the people I want to bring into this facility, it's going to be the impact it's going to make on our surrounding communities, because, it's not going to be so far-fetched to them. It's going to be a reality. I think the way I was raised, and Bill and I both, and our family, even, our sisters, it's important to have that bond we have in life. And if I can be of that to a kid that maybe doesn't have it, it's on a daily basis, by running practices or interacting with a recreational activity, because my focus is really physical health, which my definition of physical health, mental health, my one avenue is the sport of wrestling. But there's better people than me, so bringing the other people in as well. But it's nutrition, it's how you go about your day, how you talk to yourself, physical fitness, feel good, look good, those type of things. There's a lot that go into physical and mental health that, if we cover those and bring in the professionals, I think you'll get a kid's direction in life could be optimized to the fullest as far as the impact it'll have. The diversity this building in a small town has, because it's, there's 250 people in town, there's 100 kids from K through 12. But the location in relation to other towns, we're pretty, within 30-mile radius, we have a ton of smaller other towns, which have like 1,000 people. And then we're about 60 miles within big towns of like 50, 60,000 people. So it definitely has the draw potential, but part of what I want to draw, as opposed to just like workout equipment and wrestling mats, is physical therapy. We have a lot of elderly in the community, so bringing in a physical therapist from Great Falls, which would be the nearest town, or Helena, bringing one in for, say, once or twice a week to care for our elderly. That's going to be a big thing. We're looking at aquatic swimming pool. It's like a therapeutic pool. If we can get one of those in there too. Just a lot of cool avenues. So that'd be an avenue of a building of this size. Bringing in a high level person also covers your wrestling aspect of it, but it inspires kids of all sports and parents to hear their story on how they went from this to become that next level. But a lot of those people I bring in are like MMA fighters or Olympic champion wrestlers. So if you do that, you can kind of piggyback off that they're sport specific as far as like an MMA or wrestling. Yes, they'll help my little wrestlers in the room, but then we could do a MMA seminar and bring in outside community people that want to be involved with fighting. And then also my brain goes to, like, there's a lot of women in the community that would like to do a self-defense class. So say you bring in Daniel Cormier, UFC world champion, Olympian. I wrestled with him. We're teammates together. But he's come out and done a camp before. But a guy like him comes in, he can speak on behalf of wrestling, behalf of MMA. And then if we had a small group of self-defense class, I've been working with a Border Patrol, trying to work a contract in with them. So if I have an MMA fighter in, we can do some work with our government, forces for ground grappling, self-defense, things like that. So it's kind of going to be interesting once we can, put the funds together, move forward with it, and get that revolving door of successful, impactful people coming and going in this facility. Because, like I said, it's not just kids. It's not just for the kids. It's for all ages. It's just kind of when you look at it, it looks like a health club, but it can impact everybody and so on. So my main focus right now and goals are to fundraise, because everything to this point I've paid for, and now it's a lot of money. It's a challenge, but right now it's hopefully we can fundraise, build the building, go vertical with it. And I have the steel, but we have insulation and windows and electrical and plumbing and equipment and mats and bathroom facilities and lounge room facilities and kitchen, stuff like that. So there's a lot that goes into it, but right now it's just kind of getting the word out, and hopefully people want to get behind the project. As far as repurposing the building, it was once my dad's, that I know would kind of really honor him, honor his legacy, but also continue to impact our people, whoever decides to come. I don't want to limit it just to our community, but obviously the community is the big focus. But it will be a continuation of the impact he's had and the impact I can bring to it.